You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online by visiting clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right. You guys can help us keep the conversation moving forward by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Absolutely nothing less than 5 stars. For any reason whatsoever, we're going to leave some links right there in the description to help you just do just that. We are here in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who is a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and the host of today's show. Dr. Shah, happy Memorial Day to you, my friend.
Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Very special day. And it's more than just the start of summer. It's more than just about, a day off,
right,
a day to go on vacation. So the day you come back from vacation, that's what it has become, that Monday. But it's much more significant than that. But it's good to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah,
yes.
So
absolutely.
we don't want to be, the wet blanket people.
Right. I assume that's
Memorial
why you
Day, you need to be in mourning.
I assume that's why you wore white after Memorial Day.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, they would like celebrating with the Cowboys, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like celebrating
That's the thing, right?
American-
You're not supposed to wear white after Memorial Day?
That's Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Labor Day?
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Are you
No,
sure?
no white after
Yeah.
Labor Day.
Yeah, because that's getting into the
Google.
fall.
Oh my goodness, they're right.
Yeah.
No white after Labor Day.
Yeah.
I feel like now I want to cut that out.
It's okay.
You'll cut that out, right,
we'll
Dave?
We'll work on the fashion.
He's saying
But
no.
of course, today is Memorial Day. We're talking
Yeah.
about Memorial Day. People sometimes get mixed up what Memorial Day is actually celebrating, commemorating in remembrance of.
Especially if you're like a ministry leader, like you get up there. I've definitely done it sometimes where I'll get up, guys, and I'm like, guys, happy Memorial Day. Thank you to all of you guys who served and blah, blah. And I'm like, oh.
That's not what Memorial Day is
So
for.
luckily, I have people like Ryan who'd be like, hey, that was really, really good. That was great worship. In the future, Memorial Day is not for serving veterans.
It's not.
If they're alive,
true.
which
It's not
means
for
this is
them.
not for them.
Right.
There is a Veterans Day coming.
That's
There's
right.
Armed Forces Day coming. There are a lot of other days, but that's not the one.
We're here to
Memorial
help
Day is
you.
not the one.
Yeah, we're here to help you so you don't make that mistake.
Those
'Cause
three
I've made it.
typically get jumbled. Memorial Day is for those who have lost their lives in the line of duty while in active service.
That's right.
Veterans Day is those who have served, and then Armed Forces is for those who are currently serving. That is the breakdown.
The whole idea behind having a day where you recognize the soldiers who died in line of duty or in the war goes almost as far back as Athenian times.
Wow.
When people stood up and they spoke in praise of soldiers who fought bravely, courageously in the face of the enemy. And so there's one, it says, the history.com did this. They say one of the first known public tributes to war dead was in 431 BC.
Wow.
That's insane.
400 years before the earthly coming of Christ, when the Athenian general and statesman Pericles delivered a funeral oration praising the sacrifice and valor of those killed in the Peloponnesian War. And so Peloponnesian War, I mean, if you ever want to read that, that's a thick book. Takes a while to read, and it is on my must read.
Really?
As to when I'm going to do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who
Maybe
wrote
on my
it? Who wrote
deathbed.
the
When you got the
Peloponnesian
time to actually devote
He
to
said,
it.
when I'm on my deathbed.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm doing a lot of
it's-
waiting around. I'll just may as well read it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow.
I know it's about strategy, about history, about terrain, about personalities. I mean, it is a must read.
Wow.
Is it similar like to The Art of War?
No, Art of War is like junk compared to.
Is it,
Wow.
is it an ancient
Wow.
text or is it a modern book that you're
No,
talking
this
about?
is ancient text.
Ancient text. I got
Ancient
you.
text.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So did you find it?
Well, I did, but as soon as you asked me, I closed it out. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Peloponnesian War fought between Greece and Sparta. I'm going to put in Peloponnesian War text.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you? What did
History
yeah.
of the
History
Peloponnesian
of the
War,
Peloponnesian-
Project
yeah.
Gutenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Project Gutenberg is where they have ancient books in
Oh, yeah, by
PDF.
Thucydides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
It's thick.
Look at that.
It's a lot of stuff in it.
Wow.
Shit. So it's
Books within a book.
It's how many books is that? That's 9 books. Like 3 or 4 chapters a piece. Golly.
But if you care about Western civilization, if you care about history and where we are as a democratic republic, right? We are a democratically elected constitutional republic is who we are. You need to read that. That's one of the foundational documents of our nation. Now, I'm not saying every founding father read the whole thing. I'm not even going to suggest that one of them read it. Maybe Thomas Jefferson was the type to read something like that. I haven't delved into whether or not he read it, but they were aware of it and they were operating from those principles.
Bro, that's crazy. I just bought it.
Did you really?
No, I'm on Amazon. I put it in my cart. I'm interested in stuff like that.
How many volumes is that the one?
So the one that I just looked at, I think this is the entire thing, but it's thick.
It's not that expensive.
No.
How many pages does it say it is?
Let me look here.
Down here.
656.
Yeah.
That's a sizable
It's a sizable tome.
Yeah.
But I like
you
stuff
learn
like
about
that.
Persian history. You will learn about Greek history. You will learn about fighting techniques. You learn about the difference between the Athenians and the Spartans and the cultural differences between those groups. I mean, you've been with me to Athens.
Yep.
And we did not go to Sparta, but we went as far as Corinth. You went to Ryan went to Corinth with me.
Yeah.
And then we turned around. But if we had kept going, we would have gone towards Mycenae, Homer's Mycenae, and then we could have gone further into southern Greece, which is closer to the Peloponnesian. That's where the battles really took place.
Yeah.
We would have gone towards Sparta.
Yeah.
I want to go there. Maybe next year.
That would be cool.
They said there's hardly anything there.
I remember you telling me that they were just busy fighting, so they didn't have any. They didn't build
much,
like monuments or structures or anything. It was just there's not much.
I went through a phase where I was really, really interested in the Punic Wars, and I just looked at it, and the Peloponnesian War actually was like 200 years before that, so it's even older. That text is even ancient, even more ancient. That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, just to let our listeners or viewers know that this idea of lauding praise over fallen soldiers goes way, way back.
Yeah.
So the praising of fallen soldiers, is it appropriate then on Memorial Day to say something like Happy Memorial Day, or is there a better term to put in there?
I mean, it's fine to do that. I don't think we need to go somber. I don't think we need to put on sackcloth and ashes on Memorial Day because those people gave their lives so that we can have the freedoms that we enjoy today.
That's right.
That's a great point.
I have zero problem when people go on vacations on Memorial Day. I have zero problem when businesses put out deals and savings.
Yeah.
I have no problem when there are block parties.
Because that's what those people died for.
That's right. The ability to gather, to have freedom. So when somebody comes up with a wet blanket, it's like, you don't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You just like to see people morose. You like to see them morbid and just depressed.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely a time to reflect, but reflection doesn't always have to be negative. Like there's times where we could have a Memorial Day bar, and we've done this.
Yeah.
We've had Memorial Day barbecues over at the house and stuff, and it was just like, hey, before we eat, let's just remember a lot of people gave their lives to have the freedom we have. So let's just be grateful. That's all it takes. You don't have to turn it into a big morning
like a whole
party.
day sitting under hot black tents.
Yeah, we all go around in a circle and say the things that we're most ashamed of for being alive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost disrespectful to their sacrifice if you're just kind of sitting around with a long face. I mean, that's not what they would have wanted.
No, 100% not.
And you got to think like the things that Memorial Day represents, like sacrifice, honor, remembrance. These are all deeply Christian. Like these hold a lot of significance to Christian faith.
That's right. Now, when you think about Memorial Day celebrations, the idea behind celebration was actually more in the South than it was in the North. Yeah. So keep in mind, there are different cultures that came to America from the English.
Right.
Right? And I'm not saying British, I'm saying English. So especially when you, 4 different, I think we talked about this on the show one time.
I believe we have one time before that.
Yeah. So especially when it comes to the North, we're talking about the Massachusetts Bay Colony. The people who came to the Massachusetts Bay Colony in that migration in 17th century, kind of going into the 18th century, mostly came from East Anglia. Okay? So they came from that part of England. Very puritanical people.
Right.
Okay? And so they're the ones who were coming for religious freedom. The ones who came to the South, and we're now talking about Roanoke Colony, Jamestown Colony, these are people who came more from the south of London, more towards the island side of things. And there are 2 others.
Right.
There were migrations from the Irish, the Scotch Irish and all that. I'm not even talking about them. But these are the two groups that we're really dealing with on our eastern seaboard.
Right.
The North and the South. The more Puritan-minded, and the Southern one were here more for business. They were more for trade.
Mm-hmm. Here in the South.
In the South, starting in Virginia, going south. Okay, now I know the history gets complicated with places like, now North South Carolina makes sense. Georgia is began as a colony to reform criminals and all that stuff, just like Australia was.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, complicated history.
Sure.
North is complicated too, because it's not just all Puritan, because you have Quakers coming in as people further move towards Pennsylvania, Ohio, all that. So it is complicated. But I'm going somewhere with this.
Right.
So the North, the culture, especially with regards to funerals, was different. Death was not a time for celebration. Death was almost looked down upon. It's like don't celebrate, don't talk in praises to the dead. This is a time just to go ahead and get this done, and let's move on. It's part of life. Move on.
And that was because of the overtly Puritan influence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, I like Puritans, but then I also see their excesses and their misunderstandings, which I strongly reject.
Right.
I'm not a Puritan lover in
Right.
that sense.
I got
I'm
you.
not, because I see the problems there. But I like some of them very well.
Right.
But so the Puritans even had laws against making ornate caskets. I mean, they had
Really?
law-
You couldn't, that'd
No.
just be plain.
Wow.
plain. I mean, in some places, historians, archaeologists have found in written sources as well as in actual digs that it was almost like they just threw the body in there.
Come on,
Like,
y'all.
let's
Come on.
get it over with. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't dwell on it at all.
Don't dwell on it at all. It's just a matter of
So
life.
it wasn't even like you can't celebrate. It was like you can't give that much significance to it.
Right.
You have to brush it under the rug and move on.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought it was more like, oh, okay, you just have to be somber and sad and but you can't dwell on it at all.
Right. It's not, definitely don't be somber and sad too much.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Move on.
Wow.
So that's their mindset. South, it's different. It's more celebration.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So here's where things take a turn. After the Civil War, or during the Civil War, there were more celebrations at grave sites in the South among Confederate soldiers,
Yeah.
among Confederate widows or the daughters of the Confederacy. They would have these decoration days where they will go to the grave site
Right.
and decorate the graves in memory of an uncle or brother
Yeah.
or father or a cousin or whoever
Yeah.
who died in the Civil War. The idea of these graves being decorated was taken from the South.
Yeah. See, I think that's a great illustration of what you're saying, because when we hear the word celebration, we think like party hats and confetti and noisemakers. But just the acknowledgement that you go, you decorate the grave, you put flowers on it, you take food over to the family's house.
Yeah.
I remember that was something
And
that
I'm sure the Puritans did that.
Right.
They took food over, but not the graveside celebration.
But didn't you say that like when you were growing up in India, that was not something that you did? Like you take
Right.
food and you all gather at the house and eat together.
Yeah, it's more like the blandest food possible.
Really?
Yeah. you eat rice and there's another kind of pulse or whatever it is mixed. Cooked but put together.
Right.
It's very tasteless, but it's supposed to make you feel sad.
Wow.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
So you didn't look forward to funerals when you were a kid?
No.
That idea of like kind of like not happiness or like mirth, but just like a celebration of their life.
Yeah.
That's a Southern thing.
Yes, it was a Southern thing.
Huh.
And a commander-in-chief by the name of General John A. Logan in May 1868, he decided to do the same thing on May the 30th, but this time more a nationwide commemoration for the more than 620,000 soldiers who had been killed in the Civil War.
Wow.
But the idea of having this day to commemorate the dead or to decorate the graves of the dead in the Civil War was taken from the South, because that's what they were doing in the South.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It was not in the North. And a lot of websites will tell you they were not in the North, but they won't tell you why. It's because of puritanical influence.
Wow.
They didn't have it.
Yeah.
And so they had to learn from the South
how
and
to
say,
actually
This is how we
commemorate
do.
the dead.
This is how
you do
it works.
And then later on, I think it's in 1971, I believe it is, that Congress made it a law or something like that, or put it in the
Like a national holiday.
national holiday. I believe somewhere there. Maybe y'all can find that
Yeah, we
information.
can find that.
So just a little history.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, 1971.
Okay,
is when it was
there you go.
officially made a national holiday.
Okay.
And I'm looking here, like we were talking before 1868, when I'm sorry, did I say
71.
Yeah, no, it is 1971.
Yeah, I think that's what you
Yeah,
said.
it is 1971. Before 1868, I'm looking at precedents that were set in, and they're all southern states: Virginia, Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia. The precedent of like going out and commemorating that there was a person here that lived and it mattered that they lived.
Yeah, who gave their life. And that whole idea comes more from the South, because people who are coming from the south of England, which is really south of London, that whole area close to the coast, were not coming for religious persecution. They were coming more for trade. Their life was horrible back home. Not many opportunities. This class system was so thick and so impenetrable that this was the only way. Let's go somewhere else. Let's make a life. Let's make a living. So when they came here, they brought that culture with them. Now, one day I want to do a series at Clearview with these different cultures and how church life is impacted. Because sometimes people say, my culture is right. This is the way. And sometimes it's because of the region where you come from.
Right.
And it is such in that region because of where the immigration began from England, where people came from.
Yeah.
That's why.
Are they bringing? Are the values that they're bringing overtly Christian values, or is it more like they came here and then not discovered Christianity, but kind of reinvented Christianity and brought it into their culture?
Well, the thing is, there are pieces of Christianity in all of them. Okay, when you go to the Puritan culture, it's very focused on family, the importance of the family, the importance of the Word of God,
Right.
the importance of maintaining moral values. These are coming more from the north side of things. Now, I don't know what it is today. Today,
Sure.
maybe it's all upside down. I think the South is more conservative than the North.
Yeah, I would agree.
But in the South, there are other values that came. I mean, the whole idea of King James Version. Why King James so important in the South? Have you ever wondered that? Why is it such a big deal?
That is true. You don't really hear many people touting that in the North.
Because they were more for the Geneva Bible.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Because of the Puritan influence?
Because of Puritan influence. The
Yeah.
Geneva Bible was more important up there. But in the South, they were fine with King James Version. In fact, they felt like this is the Word of God. This is the right truth.
Yeah.
And all these people who have done other translations, they're of the devil.
Did the Geneva Bible
God
come
spoke in
first
these and thous.
or second?
It came second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So King James
it was
out
almost
first.
as reactionary to what King James was
It's
doing.
really interesting to look at how these cultures have shaped, our history, how that influence, their background had played a role in establishing these customs that we sort of just take for granted today.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's funny too because you see how it carries over to today's world. You know what I mean? Like you see it that it's like for us here in the South, even today, Memorial Day is still sort of a big deal. You know, it's still. But I don't know. I don't want to say it's not a big deal in the North, but I guess you just don't see it as much, and you do see a lot more like Memorial Day sales and Memorial Day this and Memorial Day that here in the South.
Well, let me clarify one thing, which is the Geneva Bible came before the King James. King James Bible was more of a reaction
Got
to the Geneva Bible.
I got you.
Yeah. I said it backwards.
I got you.
But I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does,
know.
and it does kind of lend to that cultural division. I don't want to say division, but the cultural differences.
Just cultural differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking about like Memorial Day and like the themes that, like sacrifice and honor and remembrance and stuff and how overtly Christian they are. And I'm wondering how it sort of relates. You know what I mean? Like I think of course of Christ's sacrifice on the cross, but even other characters in the Bible who exemplify that spirit of sacrifice, even sacrifice where it's like, I'm not getting my happy ending. Someone else is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like with Christ, it's always, yes, it was a huge sacrifice, but at the end, there's glorification and there's
That's
this.
right.
Yeah.
With others, it's like I have to wait on that glorification until Christ is ready to return.
Yeah, that's
or whatever.
right. That's right. That's right. The idea of sacrifice and glory is what you're referring to. Definitely Christ, as Hebrews chapter 12 tells us, for the joy that was set before him,
Right.
endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the Father. So,
Right.
yeah, the whole idea of looking forward to that glory
Yeah.
is very uniquely Christian.
Very
It
much
also makes me think of the people, the Bible talks about greater love has no man than he's willing to lay down his life
Yeah.
for his friend.
Yeah, true.
That laying down of your life, I mean, that's can be more than just like physical life. It can
Yeah.
be those who are living that life of sacrifice, like putting themselves last. It can be, taking care of other people's needs before them. And that's inherent to what we believe as Christians.
Being overseas and seeing your family growing up without you, but knowing that they're safe, knowing that they're free.
That concept of sacrifice, uniquely American, uniquely Christian.
A good friend of mine just went to Normandy, and he asked me to go with him last year. He said, "Hey, go with me. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll go places, and it's just going to be very war related." And I wanted to go, but I had some other commitments going on. Our church building is coming up, so I wasn't sure if I said yes to him, and then that's about the time we're getting into our new building. It would be all messed up. So I said, not this time. But I wish I had said yes.
Yeah.
And he did go there. And as he was walking around, this brings a balance between that morbid and the celebration. As he was walking through the graves and kind of reading the plaques, and another person who was with him was sort of talking about this, and they did this, and I see this right here, and this is what he said. Hey, I understand what you're doing, but I'm like really overwhelmed. But with the sacrifices these men made, they never got to go back home.
Right.
So maybe don't say anything for a little while. And the person with him understood. Is like, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
It is very, very emotional.
It is.
To just know that this is someone's brother here, there's someone's son here, someone's father here, and they did this, died in a foreign land, and their family more than likely will never be able to come and pay their respects.
I remember there was a time when we went to DC, and we didn't go to the Arlington National Cemetery, but we went past it.
Yeah.
And just kind of looking out and seeing those rows and rows and rows and rows of headstones, there was kind of that feeling of being overwhelmed. Like, these are men and women who have laid down their lives so that we can have the life that we have today.
Yeah.
And that sense of just kind of overwhelming gratitude and just appreciation for that sacrifice was it was very real.
We've been there.
And, we have been there. We filmed there, and not all of them died in the line of duty. Some died of old age.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were given the honor of being buried there. But again, you're right. There is a tomb of the unknown soldier, and you see the change of guards that happens there, and they walk back and forth. And I've seen that, and it's very touching.
The thing that struck me most about Arlington, because we went, back in like 2017, we got a permit and we filmed all over DC. And so if you go to like the Lincoln Memorial, it's crowded, like loud, bustling.
Yeah.
Jefferson Memorial, White House, not White House, Capitol Building. Well, White House too, we didn't go there. But I'm saying all these different sites in DC, you go to Arlington, it's dead quiet. It's very, very silent.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what it is, but you pass through those gates and it's like the world changes.
Yeah.
And it's encouraging for me because there is this collective understanding that this is a place not of like sadness or moroseness, but just of understanding
Of
what
reverence.
happened. Yeah.
And we should maintain that. I
love
think that's
it.
a great thing to do.
Very
And
much.
At the same time, listeners, viewers, celebrate with your family and friends.
absolutely.
Have a great time and enjoy yourself. But don't forget, God has given us the freedom, and these men and women who have given their lives for us.
That's right.
Remember that.
That's right. What are some ways that we as believers can show special care and special understanding to families who have lost someone in the line of duty?
I would definitely say a word of appreciation always helps.
Yeah, true.
And I know this is Memorial Day, but if you see somebody with a veteran hat, don't hesitate. They put on the hat for a reason, right? It's not like they're fishing for compliments, but they have put it on because they're proud of it. So it's okay to walk up to them and say, "Thank you for your service."
Right.
I would say 10 out of 10 times they will be, "Oh, thank you, very welcome." That's good. They put on the vest, or they have a T-shirt on. they are not fishing for that compliment. They're proud of it.
That's right. They're proud of it, and that's their way to honor those who they served with, who probably didn't make it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're like in the morning when they get up and they put on that hat.
Yeah.
They want to let the world know that they're proud that they serve, but also it's like, hey, this is for Johnny, this is for Billy, this is for the one that didn't make it back today.
They're with all kinds.
Yeah, I'm gonna remember you. I saw a video one time of this this guy. Oh man, I wish I could. I'm gonna try to find it maybe at lunch later. But it was this veteran who he served with a war buddy who he thought didn't make it back, and his daughters found him and brought him to the house, and they reunited after like 40 something years, and it was really touching. And I just don't think you get a bond like that outside of that element. You know, that's a special type of bond. So I think even just encouraging the veterans in your life and letting them know, like, hey, you know, I remember as well, and I'm with you in this.
Yeah, that's important for us, especially as we go into this Memorial Day celebration. Well, today is Memorial Day.
Yeah.
As you're celebrating, which we've talked about, you should go celebrate. You should have fun with your family. You should go on the vacation. You should have that cookout. But all done in that spirit of remembrance, that spirit of gratitude of what has been done for you, especially the sacrifice that has been made in order to secure those freedoms for you.
And I even think like right now, especially at this point in history, as we're seeing all this stuff going on in Israel, and as we're seeing all this stuff that has been going on the past couple of years with Russia and Ukraine and all this stuff, we're seeing more and more global conflict. Remembering, like taking a look at what we have in America, like things are pretty good. We're pretty safe. We're pretty secure, and we're happy. And so it's not just to say, hey, be grateful for what we have, but also acknowledge that there's people all over the world who are doing this.
Right.
And it's an overtly, I think just the hope in the midst of the remembrance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That hope for the brighter tomorrow.
Yeah.
That someone out there is willing to die for that.
That's right.
That's insane.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a powerful reminder. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, you learned something about Memorial Day, write in and let us know, 252-582-5028, or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Don't forget, you can partner with us financially on that same website. Scroll to the bottom, click that donate button, and let us know it's coming from our Clearview Today Show family. Lots of great content coming to you guys the rest of this week. Make sure you tune in. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.